Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming out today. My name is Bill Gladson. I'm the state attorney here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, Lake County, Florida. We're here today to announce a significant development in the prosecution of the defendants responsible for the murder of 10-year-old Xavier Williams. Present with us today are some of Xavier's family members. We have the victim's father, Keneal Williams, and his aunt, Camille Williams, who will be addressing you later on today. We have his two cousins, Nadine Romaine and Marie Faulkner. With me this afternoon are Assistant State Attorneys Ken Nunley and Nicholas Camuccio, who presented this case this morning to the grand jury. We also have, to my left, Tavares Police Chief Sarah Corsi and Tavares Detective Doug Roberts, who investigated the case that we're going to talk about this afternoon. And before I get started, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that we recognize what our brothers and sisters in Walton County, Florida are going through right now. Yesterday they lost a deputy in the line of duty. So on behalf of the people of Lake County, I want to let them know that they are in our prayers. As you know, the individuals responsible for the murder of Xavier are currently charged with second-degree murder and child abuse. And that's been the subject of some discussion in the media. In Florida, to charge somebody with a capital first-degree felony, you have to bring charges before a grand jury. Charging somebody with second-degree murder and child abuse gave us the option of keeping them in custody while we convene a grand jury to present evidence so they could make a decision on whether or not to indict. So that's the process that we go through. And in particular, when you have a child that's been abused and then dies some days later, you don't know, it's kind of a moving target. You don't know when you're going to have your finality. So that was the reason that we made those decisions, and the police department made those decisions to make those arrests at that time. Today we're here to announce that the grand jury indicted 37-year-old Kimberley Mills, the mother of the victim, and 36-year-old Andre Walker, the paramour of Mills, on 5 counts. Both Mills and Walker were indicted as principals to first-degree murder, principals first-degree felony murder, as well as aggravated child abuse. And at this point, I want to read portions of the indictment so you'll have an understanding of what, to some extent, what information, or at least what evidence the grand jury considered when they made their decision. So for count 1, and this applies to both defendants, principal to murder in the first-degree felony murder, Kimberley Mills and Andre Dwayne Walker, on or about February 22nd, 2025, did unlawfully and feloniously, while engaged in the perpetration of a certain felony, to wit, aggravated child abuse, kill and murder Xavier Williams, a human being under the age of 18 years. Count 2, as to both defendants. Principal to aggravated child abuse, first-degree felony. Kimberley Leon Mills, Andre Walker, between December 24th, 2024 and February 20th, 2025, did unlawfully, actually, intentionally commit one or more of the following acts of striking Xavier Williams, a child under the age of 18 years, against his will, or intentionally cause bodily harm to said child by striking him with a dumbbell. And in the commission of said acts of battery, did intentionally and knowingly cause great bodily harm, permanent disability, or permanent disfigurement to said child. Count 3 of the indictment, principal to aggravated child abuse as to both defendants, first-degree felony. Kimberley Mills and Andre Walker, on December 24th, or between December 24th, 2024 and February 20th, 2025, did unlawfully and maliciously punish Xavier Williams, a person under the age of 18 years, by striking him with various objects to include a dumbbell, boxing gloves, flashlights, and a copper rod in violation of Florida statutes. And as I said earlier, there's a 5-count indictment. The last 2 counts will need some redactions. There will be copies of them available for you. Today, we're kind of prepared to talk about counts 1 through 3, which include the first-degree murder and the child abuse. The other thing I want to mention at this point is I'm going to announce today that we are seeking the death penalty as to both defendants in this case. As you know, Florida law allows for capital punishment for the most heinous of crimes and for the most vulnerable of victims. And that's what we have in this particular case, and that's why we are here today. At this time, I'm going to read portions of the notice of intent to seek death, which has been filed in this case. The state intends to seek the death penalty in the event the defendant is found guilty of first-degree murder. The aggravating factors the state intends to prove and has reason to believe that it can prove beyond a reasonable doubt are as follows. The defendant was previously convicted of another capital felony or a felony involving the use or threat of violence to the person. The capital felony was committed while the defendant was engaged in or was an accomplice in the commission of or an attempted to commit aggravated child abuse. The capital felony was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel. The victim of the capital felony was a person less than 12 years of age. The victim of the capital felony was particularly vulnerable because the defendant stood in a position of familial or custodial authority. Those are the 5 aggravators that we have evidence that we expect and intend to prove in this case, should the jury come back with a conviction in the future of first-degree murder. I know that's a lot to digest, and I know I appreciate your patience because this has been something, as I said earlier, that's been talked about in the media a lot. The Tavares Police Department has done an excellent job getting information out when they can. Sometimes we always work together, and sometimes we have to keep information close until we get to the point where a grand jury has been seated, convened, and then has heard the evidence. So with those updates, I'd like to thank Chief Coursey, Detective Doug Roberts, and Detective Courtney Sullivan for their diligence in investigating this case and keeping the public, as I said, informed all along the way as much as they could. I also want to express my deep appreciation to the community members who have come out in support of the family in this case. Hundreds of you attended the vigil this past week, and a family that's going through what this family is going through needs to know that they have the support of the community as they move forward. I have personally seen how community support can keep family members of victims, survivors, engaged in the process and give them the strength to make it through, because what they're going through now and what they're going to go through is unimaginable to the rest of us. So with that, I'd like to invite Chief Coursey up for a few comments. Chief, if you...
As your Chief of Police, it is with a heavy heart that I stand before you to address a case in which the life of an innocent child was tragically taken by individuals who were supposed to love and protect him. This case has profoundly impacted my entire agency, and I would like to take this opportunity to commend my team for their unwavering professionalism and commitment to seeking justice for Xavier. Their efforts have ensured that his voice has been heard. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the detectives who worked in close partnership with the State Attorney's Office and who will continue to do so in the days ahead. Special thanks to our State Attorney, Bill Gladson, and his team for their dedication and support. I am deeply appreciative of the outpouring of support from our community, who have rallied behind Xavier's family during this difficult time. It has been inspiring to witness a community come together not only to mourn the loss of Xavier, but to honor his memory and now to seek justice in his name. I have full confidence that our State Attorney's Office will ensure that Kimberly and Andre will be held accountable for their actions. This is not an act of vengeance, but a solemn response born out of the respect for Xavier and his family. The severity of their crimes demands an equal response, and I trust that justice will prevail. Let us continue to stand united as we seek justice for Xavier and support his family, to honor his memory. Together we embody the strength and compassion needed to face this tragedy, heal, and move forward with purpose. I'd like to now welcome Lead Detective Doug Roberts to say some words.
Hi, thank you all for coming. From the time that we responded on the night of February 22nd, I never imagined that this is where we would be today. This case has been a true test of strength and resilience, and one we are in for the long haul. As the dad myself, my heart breaks for Xavier's family, In fact, many of us here today are parents. So we all feel very strongly about protecting children, whether it be our own or children in the community. While we still have a long road ahead in this case, I'm grateful for the progress that we have all made thus far. This progress would not have been possible without my team and our close partnership with the State Attorney's Office, Department of Children and Families, and Guardian Ad Litem, who have all been instrumental in helping us ensure justice prevails for Xavier Williams. Today's outcome is another great example of our partnership in the pursuit of justice. Above all else, I ask of everyone to please keep Xavier's family in your hearts and prayers in these days ahead as they navigate this heartbreak that no family should ever have to. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to introduce Kimberley Mills up to the podium.
Thank you. I want to express my family's elation in the new indictments. I must say, and I think I can speak for all of the members of our family, it hasn't been a joyous occasion, but we are pleased with the news we got today. I want to thank the state's attorney's office for all that they have been doing. We want to thank the Tavares Police Department and the grand jury for their timeless efforts in ensuring that this journey to justice is a deserved one for Xavier Williams, our beloved Xavier Williams and his brother. I want to take this time out to thank everyone, the community of Tavares and the surrounding communities, everyone that was involved, the media, everybody that donated, every single person for praying, for the compassion, for the sympathy, for a lot of people has reached out to us, both here and all over the states, everywhere. So we want to thank them from the bottom of our hearts. We are genuinely grateful for that. I want to also take this opportunity, because I might not get another one, to highlight the candlelight vigil for Xavier Williams that will take place in Connecticut Wednesday, April 9 from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the West Indian Social Club, 3340 Main Street, Hartford, Connecticut 06120. And we are encouraging everyone to please wear blue, as that was Xavier's favorite color. And we will have candles, but you can also choose to bring your own. Again, thank you all so very much. We appreciate you. God bless you. And let's thank God for the news that we got today. Last but never least, thank you.
Thank you, Claire. So I'm going to take a couple questions. As you know, prosecutors can't say too much about pending cases. That's why I read off of the indictment and I read off the notice of intent to seek death. And before you get Frank, go ahead.
Can you just talk about how the death penalty and seeking the death penalty in this case, we could change the timeline of the case itself?
So, good question. And adding the element of death penalty being on the table always, I can say with near 100% certainty, means that cases take longer to work through the system. There's different and additional experts that aren't necessary in some cases. The amount of prep and everything that goes into it typically extends it. There's no way to say how long a case is going to be pending, but it certainly doesn't shorten it. So it's going to be a while. Frank?
Two questions. When did DCF get involved with this family before the February 22nd? And also, is PD handling this case for the defense and one of their conflict attorneys, or is it a private attorney, or what? You know?
So in order of your question, I'm not aware that DCF had been called out or had any involvement with this family before February 20th when we were learned of it. They both have private counsel, I'm told. I don't know their names, but I do know that I think they have private counsel. Yes,
You
ma'am.
mentioned December 24th. Is that the date that you guys believe the abuse may have begun, or was it even earlier than that, possibly?
So when we are looking at all the evidence, speaking to the witnesses, and reviewing all of the items we have to pick a day if we're going to allege that a crime committed over a period of time. And we have some evidence that suggests that after that, things were different perhaps at the moment. So that's why that date was chosen.
Also, what is it going to take for the prosecution to prove first-degree murder in this case? What's the difference really between second degree?
So this is felony murder. So if you are committing principal to felony murder, so if you're committing a enumerated felony, let's say you're committing a bank robbery, and you're the one inside the store committing the robbery, and the person who drove you there knows that's what you're doing, and you commit a murder, that's a murder that occurs during commission of an enumerated felony. So in this case, child abuse is the enumerated felony, and both parents were acting in concert with each other. So was there a second part of your question? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
If Ms. Camille would speak again, I know we talked about we're in the long haul and after we're pursuing the death penalty. We were with you on Monday when they weren't in court. We got the announcement today. How you're keeping your emotions up as we continue to fight for justice. How the family is staying strong in this. We hit a point today, but we're in for the long haul.
You okay? You okay with that?
So like I said earlier, this is good news for us moving forward. We feel like it's time for justice to be served. I know we know and we understand that it's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be a long process, but with this new development, we are hopeful and hoping that justice will be served.
Why do you think the death penalty is needed in this case?
I will not comment on that. Thank you.
One more question. I saw your hand go up there.
Yeah, I understand he had a brother, and I was wondering how he's doing. What is he become a witness? Is there issues with him?
He does have a brother, and that's not something that I can comment on today. So it's I'll have to leave it at that. So okay, one more.
Also, the main abuser in this case, do you know at this point if Andre or the mother was the main abuser?
So that's too specific for me to comment on, and it's too early. So I think that concludes our press conference. We do appreciate everybody coming out here. The family, like I said, they need your support. They need the support of the community, and as you can see, they've got that, and that's going to help them get through the next years of going through this process. So, thank you all. I appreciate it.